Hi students, I am going to go through your lesson 7 and 8 quiz. So let's go ahead. Question 1. So question 1, 2, these two are going to be just basically knowing your medical terms, medical definitions. So if you have any questions on them, ask me. So let's go here to the next one. It gives you exactly what you need to do. So you go to glaucoma, open angle, primary, find the seventh character. Okay, so the same thing here, it's going to be the definition, medical definition. Number 5, right here, whenever you have a diagnosis that's going to be related to AIDS, your B20 code is going to be sequenced first. So if the patient would have had, for example, let's say they came in for a broken femur, but they also have AIDS. At that point, the femur, the fracture is not related to the AIDS. So you're going to go ahead and code that femur code first, which would be an S code, and then your B20 code. But anytime you have a symptom related to the AIDS, B20 will be sequenced first. Okay, so here for this one, our final diagnosis is aspiration pneumonia. So you are going to go ahead and look up pneumonia and then aspiration. So right here, go to food, it's J69.0. And then always make sure you look in your tabular to make sure that we don't have any exclude notes or anything code also that we need to do. So this one here, we are good with just the J69.0. Okay, so question number 7, ventilator associated pneumonia. This one here, you go to pneumonia. And then you're going to go for your subterm. Ventilator associated is going to be the J95851. Again, make sure you double check that code in the tabular. And here, use additional. We do not know of the organism, so we can't code a B code to go with it. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. Number 8, we have a virus with laryngitis. So this one here, I'm sorry, it should be influenza A. So I'm going to start off with influenza. System's a little slow here. Okay, so then if I go to A, and right here, due to identify novel influenza A virus, it's going to be J09X2. And here you see that it includes the laryngitis, so you don't code that separately. You only need the one code. So keep that in mind. So any of those with the additional code, you're overcoding. Okay, so then on to number 9. This one here can so if I look at this, we have the diagnosis of acute expiration of severe persistent asthma with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So with this one here, we're going to go to asthma, and then let's go ahead and look down here. We're going to start off with the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So with that, you're going to have the J44.9. Okay, that should not be your principal diagnosis though. Your principal diagnosis is going to be the persistent. So then if I go to asthma, persistent, which takes me right to here. So with this, we have severe. So I need to go to severe. And it's with the acute expiration. So that takes us to J4551. Just look at our notes. We don't have any notes, but we did also want to code the the asthma with the COPD. So here we have two different codes, and the reason that we do because one code does not give us the whole scenario of what we need to code. That means we need to, again, have two diagnoses for that one. So this one here, acute rheumatic endocarditis, pretty much you go to endo and go to rheumatic, and we need acute. Takes us right to here, 101.1. Okay, hypertensive heart disease. With this one, keep in mind, you can't, you're gonna have to go to hypertension. A little bit here. And then you're gonna want to go to with, going to be with the heart. So then it's going to go with the heart. So we're going to go cardiovascular. This will take you a couple of different ways. So I can go down to here, right here, and go to heart. I have the I11.9. So with that, it's hypertensive heart disease without heart failure. So that sums it up. Keep in mind when you have hypertension and it includes the heart, it automatically goes to hypertensive. All right, so this one here, remember our rules. You go to stenosis, mitral valve with aortic valve disease. Whenever you have aortic valve disease with the mitral valve, you presume that it's rheumatic. So that's why we were coding the I0.0. Let's go ahead. So if I go to stenosis, mitral with aortic, it takes me to I0.0. And if you look at our tabular, right here, it's rheumatic. So just something to, again, to remember. This is kind of an important thing to remember. You have those both valves. Okay, so 23, just review the true false. Right here, it does give us the pathway. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these. Here, the same thing for 17. Same thing for 18, goes through the pathway. So really look at these pathways. It really explains what you need to code. Okay, this one here, if you go to sequela, remember we're looking for sequela of cerebral infarction. Okay, so once you get that I69 code, all right, this is why it's really important to go to the tabular. So we have our dysphagia. So let's look at right here, use additional code to identify the type of dysphagia. So that's why it's taken me to R13.1. So if I go there, what type of dysphagia do we have? The pharyngeal phase, which is right there. R13.13, pharyngeal phase. Okay. Again, this one right here, distressed respiratory child, J80. Same thing with here, these pretty much explain it. So if anybody has any issues or other comments on this test, please contact me. I'd be happy to address any of your concerns.